Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Simon with topdockpro, and today we are going to be doing a polishing video on this 38 fountain here in Port Charlotte. Let's show you guys how to do it.
Hey guys, it's Brian here with topdockpro. So as you can see right here, I have my Rupus 21. This is a great machine for polishing. It comes out great when you have finishing products, especially for like a haul or your gunnel situation. So this machine right here we have like a Euro wool pad on it. You can see it's kind of like the synthetic wool. It works really good when it comes to polishing.
Yeah, so we got the 6-inch Euro wool, and then you got a brand new 21, right?
Yeah, I mean this is brand new, fresh out the box. There's a little dust from my hand on it, but I put my own little sticker on it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a brand new 21. It's actually the older version, but it's a brand new machine, and you cannot go wrong with the Rupus 21.
With the direct flow backing plate.
Yeah, 6-inch backing.
6-inch, yep. So I mean, it's a great machine. It does all of our essential needs for polishing after you do a buffing finish, or even a boat like this is in great shape. We're on this 38 fountain out here in Port Charlotte. So when we go to polish, usually we use the Elevate. In here I have Stark's Elevate, and it works great. I mean, every time you just get a perfect shine after you use this. Usually I like to run it a little bit slower, so like maybe like around 2 or 3. So you can see the knob right here. It goes from 1 and it goes all the way up to 6. So we have different variable speeds, but I like to run it around like 2 or 3 to start it off, because if you go too fast, if you're running it on 6, it's gonna start flinging everywhere. And that's why we also have our applicators. Our applicators, we put a little bit of polish right here, a little bit of Elevate on here, and then say this is the surface that we're gonna polish. So we just put it on here, nice and even. I like to do a square, and then I kind of just fill it in real even.
Yeah, so a nice little square. And then what would you say, like, section size? Like, some people try to run maybe half the boat, but we recommend probably don't do that.
Yeah.
So you would say like what, like 2x2, 3x3 foot?
I would say personally, depending on your experience, 3x3 is comfortable for me. But it all depends on the person. Right now we're only doing a smaller section to kind of show these guys how we do it. But if it was up to me, I'd probably go from about this pole to this pole. So that's might be even like a 4-foot section.
Maybe,
but,
4x3.
It's all about how well you feel comfortable doing it. So right now we did a nice section so you guys can see. I did the quarter to right here. Like I said, I applied it very evenly with the applicator. Now we're gonna go ahead and get started. You see I'm holding it nice and steady. I have even pressure. And you kind of just want to follow how you applied it. Now we're gonna go ahead and speed it up a little bit. I put it on like 4 or 5. And we're gonna clean up the rest of the remaining residual. That's pretty much a polished spot right there. So after we do that, you can see that there's still a little bit of residual left over. So what we do is we grab our rags, our microfiber rags. Usually I like to grab like the softer ones. You just go ahead and wipe even. Make sure you wipe thoroughly. That's the main thing of every detail, is you're wiping thoroughly. You just want to make sure you get all of the residual that's left behind. What would you say? That spot's shining pretty nice, right?
Yeah, so what I noticed is you went from about 3, and then you increased it up to about what, 4 or 5?
4 to 5, went to 5. Yeah.
Went to 5, yeah.
So the reason I do that is, like I said, when I have it on a lower speed, it saves it from, going fast. When you go too fast, first off, you're not going to get inside the surface like how you want to. Second, it's like, you know, it spins everything and you don't want stuff going everywhere. So when you're at a slower speed, it's a little more controlled. But then when you go to speed it up, that's when you like to kind of like clean things up. And, you know, you want to make sure that the surface is nice and finished properly. So that's why the higher speed is good towards the end.
Yeah, and I feel like when you start slower, you also get more cut time.
Yes.
You know, and then when you increase it, you get more of that gloss. You're able to bring that gloss out.
Right, exactly.
So, and then then Brian wiped it off with a microfiber, and then I'm gonna show you guys real quickly what that looks like. But that's really, you know, how to do it. You're gonna do section by section. You know, throughout the whole boat, and what I like to say, it's kind of like cutting the grass. You know, you're doing it like section by section, but you got to cover the whole surface area by the time you're done. Exactly. So it's you know, you're chipping away at it little by little.
And the great part about it too is that you'll feel the surface when it's polished versus when it's not, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah,
so
it's real smooth.
It's really smooth. So go ahead, start.
All right, let's go ahead and check this section out. Now this is like a 2021 fountain, so it's not going to be, you know, out of hand or anything, but definitely gets that little extra shine that we need to put our sealant on. So we're here with Jacob today, and he's gonna be buffing out right below the garment over here. So it's a little oxidized, and he's actually got the buffers. So you're using the Makita buffer. What do you think about the Makita buffer? You like it?
Best buffer around.
Yeah.
It's the best buffer. Really strong, really durable. Has a lot of power. Buffing out this section here. I already polished it out one time and saw there was a little bit more haziness or dullness we could get out. So we're going ahead and buffing all the gel coat up here where it wasn't covered. And yeah, get right to it.
So Jacob's gonna buff this.
Using some Stark Level R with a white wool pad from Lake Country. And go nice and slow.
Yeah, he's gonna start at like 600 RPMs, just kind of cut it nice and slow. Let that compound kind of bite into the surface.
Speed it up a little bit. While I go.
Yeah, so Jacob was just took it nice and slow. I mean, really Level R just likes to run really low RPMs and just kind of break down and cut out that oxidation. So yeah, you can see a big difference here in the shine.
A lot clearer, a lot more gloss. Looks way better. Yeah, it should be ready for polishing.
So there's Level R, and then yeah, after he gets done with that, he's gonna be polishing. So we'll move on to Elevate.
We'll be moving a little bit quicker with the Level R as I get through this, but you know, for showing for the video, nice and slow, nice and easy. If you're trying to get it 100% and make sure you don't leave anything behind.
Yeah, and you would say like you like Level R better than like maybe 3M Heavy or Presta or something.
I haven't found a heavy cut I like more than Level R. Pretty
Yeah.
much, and I've tried a lot of them.
Right, and I feel like, you know, if it's too bad, like you might as well sand. So that's why Level R is good, because if Level R is not working, then you just got to sand the boat.
You're doing bad for the gel coat by going on a heavier compound. I mean, sanding is always the best.
Yeah.
Fresh new layer, nice and even, nice and consistent. That's what we like.
All right, thanks for that tip, Jacob. Hey guys, we got Zach here today. He's part of the team, and he's gonna be working on the starboard side of, or actually the port side of this console.
Sir.
So you've got, what machine you got here?
This is the Bauer dual action polisher, 6-inch, and with that we're pairing it with the, I believe it's a Buff and Shine white wool.
Yeah, it's a Euro wool 6-inch pad. He's got the Bauer. It's just basically a cheaper version of the Rupes 21. So, but it's a good polisher, especially, you know, if you don't want to spend as much money, or $500-600 on a Rupes.
Right.
You can get a pretty nice polisher for about $100 at Harbor Freight. Now, he does got Elevate, like he said, and he's just kind of using his applicator to spread that around.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I mean, what kind of section size do you like to do?
Most of the time with the polishing, or even with buffing as well, you want to keep it within shoulder distance, you know, so probably about 1.5 to 2 foot wide. No more than 2 sections or 3 sections going down, 3 sections going to the side, and then from there, you know, it should be able to, doing 3 passes, should be able to get everything that you're looking to get out.
And what kind of speed do you like to run at?
Whatever keeps the polisher moving, for the most part, because it has the action of rotating, going in a circle and going in the orbital motion. So whatever keeps it spinning at the same time as rotating. Most of the time that's around 4, 3.5, 4. But it depends on where you're working. Sometimes, you know, you want that slower speed for getting into corners and stuff, so it doesn't quite go out of control.
Okay, and then like what kind of motions should they expect in the video? Like what kind of patterns do you like to kind of polish with? Is it just random or?
Left, right, up and down motion. So starting left to right, going up and down, and then finishing left and right again. The last step. It'll look like basically. And
why do you like that? You think that's best process?
Just keeps it organized. Make sure you hit the entire surface. Just the way I was taught to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you get the consistency. Like if you're going like random circles, it's just not gonna finish out as nicely. So
yeah, you're just going all around, all willy nilly. You know, you want to
inconsistent.
remove all of the swirls and everything consistently, like you said.
All right, let's go ahead and let's see how it's done.
Yes, sir.
It's just like, it's almost like, did you try this full out turn?
All right, so yeah, so he just polished it out, and then he's got his microfiber. He's gonna wipe that off.
Wipe the section.
Do you think it's necessary to wipe off, or why do you like to do it?
You can leave it for a couple of sections, but it helps when you when it's nice and fresh to, you know, help lift the oils off the surface. When you leave it on there, it can still soak back down into the gel coat. Makes it a little bit more difficult to wash out, but you know, it's not really. That's why you do the prep surface step before you do any sort of sealant on it. So.
Yeah, so he just he just did that section, then he'll do the rest, like you said, just kind of section by section. Is there any final tips, anything else you'd like to say about polishing that you think maybe would help somebody?
I'd say probably just find a method that works, stick to it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You know, no way is perfect, so just sticking to it and practicing the way you know is probably the best way to go. But mixing around just confuses things. So.
Do you have any sort of like suggestion on like when to know to polish, like based on the surface?
Anytime there's haziness, anytime there's swirls that you can notice with just looking at it in the sun, you know, if it's more than just the swirls on it, I'd say you'd probably want to go for a buff. Heavy polishing is good for when there's light oxidation, maybe like just a tiny little bit of haziness. Not that bad of swirls. It's one step quick. Foam polishing would be for, you know, finishing after a medium cut or heavy, you know, polishing step. Like
I think I mean, I would say like I feel like the surface needs to look almost like you could wax it to kind of be able to get polished. So I mean, I can show them right here.
Basically,
so this is basically, you know, you can see it's pretty shiny. It's not perfect, but when you come over here by the section that Zach did, you can see it's really kind of glossed up now. So, but yeah, I would say, I mean, that's kind of my final words. Is that everything?
That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Zach. All right, guys, so we got Quentin here. He's also going to be polishing. And what do you got? What are you polishing with right here?
I am polishing with the Rupes 21 and the Eurowool pad.
Yeah, so we got the Rupes 21, the Eurowool. What do you think about that pad? Do you like it?
I like it. It gives a good amount of cut, especially when there's a little bit more haziness or more scratches to get out.
works really well.
Yeah, I would say the Euro wool is like, it's almost 100% wool, so it's gonna be like really aggressive, which we like for polishing. You know, because we really got to get a good cut and finish on these surfaces that we're doing. And you know, in Florida, we get a lot of sun down here, so we got a lot of oxidation and surface imperfections we deal with. But yeah, I mean, do you like, so I see you're doing the applicator, do you like applying with the applicator, or would you prefer to put Elevate on the pad?
I do a good mix of the both. Sometimes if it's like an area that I know I want to get like more scratches out of, or it's more hazy, I just put it straight on the surface or straight on the pad. I feel like it like cuts better, or maybe the compound gets a little bit more aggravated or something, but it works pretty well.
Okay, yeah, so go ahead and get started. And yeah, in the video you could see the surface shine right back up. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so now Quinn's wiping off with the towel just to kind of, you know, make sure all the polishing oils and keep everything clean. But yeah, I mean, that was really good. I noticed you went like nice and slow. What's your kind of method for polishing? Like, how would you go about it?
Whatever I do, I just make sure to put just enough pressure in that the pad keeps spinning on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing.
Yeah, because once that pad stops spinning, it kind of stops cutting because it's just kind of vibrating, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think some of the key. What do you think some of the keys to that are? I mean, I know one off the top of my head. I would probably say like keeping the pad flat would you know, allow it to spin.
Not too much pressure.
And then maybe just like, I think you did like 3 or 4 passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4 is probably about my normal. Yeah.
Is there, yeah, I mean, other than that, is there any other tips you would like to say for anybody, or if someone's just learning how to polish?
On this section, I did like a back and forth motion for the most part, but normally if it was like a bigger section, or if I did over here, I would have done, like I started on the outside and worked my way in, back and forth, and then my last section or two would be up and down.
Yeah, so like kind of getting those different, yeah, like those different patterns in. Yeah, you're able to, I think doing that, you're kind of able to cut different angles, and kind of just, I think the consistency of the polish is a little better. So yeah. So all right, Quinn, well, thank you for the segment, and we'll move on to the next. Hey guys, this is Simon again, and I'm back here on the outboard units. So the biggest thing with the outboard units is that these are painted. So we have clear coat on the outboards versus the gel coat, and the gel coat's going to be thicker, but back here we're a little thinner because paint is actually sprayed thinner than gel coat. So when we're polishing, we just have to keep in mind that we don't want to remove too much material. You know, we've made some changes. We try not to have to use like that Euro wool pad because it cuts really deeply, and we lose a lot of clear coat doing that. And on a new boat like this, there's no reason to cut down extra clear coat when it's not necessary. So what we have instead is we have the foam pad right here. This is a waffle foam. It's orange, and I believe this one's from Lake Country. And then we have our Rupes 21 like we showed earlier. So this is your random orbital polisher. And then we've also got Stark Elevate, which we'll be using. And basically when it comes to the pads, like I was saying, you know, your pad is gonna cut, but so is your polish. So if we're gonna use a really heavy pad and a really heavy polish, then we're gonna get a lot of cut. But if we're using, you know, a heavy polish and a light pad, we get a little bit less cut. And then if we were gonna step down into like Stark Ignition with the light pad, we get even softer. So we're kind of going in the middle. We're trying to do Elevate with the foam pad, and that's what we believe is gonna get us the best finish here for this specific boat. Again, these outboard units are pretty new. We're just trying to get out some of these final scratches, and we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Elevate on the surface, I like to put it on nice and thin, like I'm applying a wax. The less product we have on here, the less that it's gonna cut as well, because we have less product on the surface. So now that that's done, we're gonna pick up our polisher here and we're gonna start. I pretty much run mostly at 3 because this is a nice speed for doing paint. I might increase it up to 4 a little bit as we get going, but that's gonna be kind of where we're gonna keep it at. So let's go ahead and get started. As you guys can see in the video, you can see the polisher oscillating, and that's what's removing the scratches. So that's why we like to go nice and slow, let the machine do the work, because that machine's orbital, right? Now it's a little different when you're using a rotary, but for the polisher, you know, it's all about that spin of motion and that correction. So after we're done polishing, we're gonna give it a nice wipe, and that's gonna be our finish. So it looks nice. We got a little more gloss out of the surface now. We cut down some of the scratches, and now it'll be ready for sealant.
Hey guys, it's Brian here. So we've been polishing all day on this 38 fountain. Now I'm going to show you guys a little tip of how we polish on the float. So the float can be a little tricky at times. You see, you got to have really good balance. It's pretty essential to make sure on your float that it's all the way pumped up. It's nice and, you know, tight. We see we have the inflatable. There's other ones that are kind of like plastic ones, like, you know, different docks. Also,
yeah, what kind of type of, or which brand is that?
So this one it's similar to like the Solstice brand that we use. I know Simon uses the Solstice. It's pretty similar. I got this one on Amazon. Pretty similar brand.
Do you know what it is or no?
I'm not sure exactly
okay.
the brand, but yeah, I mean, you can find them on Amazon fairly priced. So they do a great job. You know, you're able to access all around the boat, and you're able to reach spots that, you know, you probably couldn't reach if you didn't have it. So it's really important too, though, to make sure that you have your ropes on the float, because how I set it up, I have my ropes and my suction cups. And the suction cups, what it does is it secures the spot tight, so that way you don't float off, and, you know, it kind of makes it easier when you're in your workspace. So here we're gonna do a quick section so you guys can kind of see how I do it on the float. See how I have nice pressure. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm pushing against it.
Yeah, Brian's got a super unique setup, because he actually tied and he strapped down underneath the boat. So he's got 2 suction cups, and he's got 2 straps, which when he pushes back, like he said, it kind of holds them in place. And these boats that are on lifts are very challenging because there's nothing to really tie up to. So this is really the only way to do it.
Yes,
but Brian will show you guys how he kind of, you know, does a section, and he probably makes it look easier than it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, it comes with years of experience, years of practice, years of experience. You know, there's different ways too to even tie up your suction cups. I mean, I know I've done it before in the past where I put them up here even and spread them out wider. It all depends on the boat, but right now this works for me because the way I'm hitting this, when I go to push against this, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm saying, guys, like, see, when I have the machine in my hand, it's not going anywhere. So.
you
for watching.
Top Dock Pro.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave us a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out our ebook, Total Restoration, a full detailing course from wet sanding all the way through protection. Be sure to check out our website, topdockpro.com and 1%detail.com. All the links that we used today, all the products will be in the link in the description below, and we will see you on the next one.